Welcome everybody to another episode of Vendor Spotlights. I'd like to welcome a very brand new guest to the show today. Her name is Ayssia Guenette, and you can correct me later if I said that wrong, Ayssia. And she is actually a very brand new vendor. So you have not seen her at the Holistic Market and Psychic Fair yet, as she has been waiting since March to join us. So the next one, she will be here. So Ayssia will be talking about a lot of the energetic work that she does and some shamanism, and she also has some giveaways for our viewers today. So let us know you're here. Type in the comments where you're watching from, and I will bring her on screen in just a sec. And before I do, if you are going to be making comments, I would like to put this up here. Please let StreamYard have permission to see your name. And that's done at streamyard.com/Facebook. And then that way we will see who's commenting, and we'll be able to interact with you a little bit better. I use StreamYard. I love it because it gives all this fun stuff that makes your viewing so much better. So Ayssia Guenette is our guest today, and we will be talking about the energy work that she does, and we will have some giveaways from her today as well. So I'll bring her in right now. Hello, Ayssia, welcome.
Hello.
How are you doing today?
Good, really good.
Yeah, I know you've been very patient waiting to join in on the live in-person events since March. Actually, that was supposed to be your first one, but I know we've got a booth set aside for you for the next one coming up. So perhaps we can start off. I'll give the screen over to you, and if you can share with us what it is that you do in your practice.
Yeah, so hi everybody, my name's Ayssia. Basically, I practice shamanism and shamanic Reiki. I've been a Reiki master for quite a few years now. Once shamanism kind of started taking my path, I eventually started combining pretty much everything that I do. So what that looks like is basically, if someone comes to me for help, I journey to spirits that I work with and the person's soul, basically, and I see what's all going on with their energy, with their body, with their mind, any type of illnesses, disorders, diseases. And basically, I look to see if I can help them by clearing it. I do a lot of past life work with this. So a lot of the time when people are coming to me, they actually are coming to me with more than just this one lifetime full of work. Typically, we're going into as many past lives or other lifetimes that they need me to at that time and that they're ready for.
That's really interesting. Actually, I'm going to pop in here because I want to keep asking questions as we go along. So you do this work in person, but also you do this remotely. Is that right?
Yeah, actually, it's been pretty interesting. Even before COVID started happening, the majority of my clients are from distances. So I have lots of clients in other provinces. A lot of people from around the world actually do look at my website a lot. There's a lot of information on there. I try to make it really simple for anyone, even that doesn't know much about energy work. They can read it and kind of get an understanding of what it is that I do. So yeah, that's basically the process.
And that's why I like having these vendor spotlights, because it really lets us get a lot of info about different practitioners and the modalities that people do and what that would look like if they were to come and see you for a treatment or an appointment or online.
Yeah.
And here's Trina. Hey, Trina, how are you doing? She says, hello, Ayssia. So happy to see you here sharing this.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for watching, Trina. And so Ayssia, we do have, like I mentioned earlier, we do have some gifts from you that you're going to be giving away. So, and that is, you have actually 2 gifts to give to our viewers today, 2 shamanic journeys. So one per person, $100 value each. And so how are we going to do this contest? We're going to do the draw for these at the end of the event, at the end of the show here. But to enter, we're going to give you a keyword. Let's see, what should we make this keyword? And you're going to type it in the comments to be entered. How about journey? let's put in journey, because we're all on a journey here. So to enter in to win a gift from Ayssia, she's donating 2 shamanic journeys, and they can be done remotely, so you can get some treatment work done without needing to be here in person. And you are in Kelowna, right?
Yeah, I live here in Kelowna.
Yeah. So type in the word journey into the comments below to be entered. We'll do the draw for that near the end of the show, and we'll remind you about that a little bit more as well. So, oh, hey, my mom's joining. My mom's in here. She's watching from Grimsby, Ontario.
Oh, that's
and
cool.
We've got, people are entering. And Jazz is here as well. She goes, hello, Carly and Ayssia. So glad you're doing this. Hi, Jazz. Jazz was actually one of, I remember Jazz being active in the online summit that we did recently. So thank you for joining us on the Vendor Spotlight. All right, so let's see. So Ayssia, when you talk about shamanic journeying, because I know we had a guest on prior that really went right deep into the whole shamanic journeying and all of that. Like, how much of that makes up of your practice? Like, I know you're blending everything, but are you finding you're kind of shifting more into that area, or?
Yeah, I've pretty much just been focusing. Yeah, I've pretty much just been focusing on shamanism for the last 2 years. And basically how that worked for me is, at first I started off with Reiki. And I think a lot of people that are healers really do kind of start with Reiki. And then eventually it got to a point where it was turning into more and more and more. And then eventually shamanism started kind of happening, and the initiation process started happening. And for me, that got like really crazy. I started having to deep dive into other lifetimes. And then before I knew it, I was journeying all day, every day, almost, for quite some time. And I went through thousands of past lives and other lifetimes. I see myself in other forms of other beings that, don't really exist in our physical reality. And I got to see a lot of cool things with that. The thing that I found the most fascinating about going that deep into it was that I was starting to get an understanding and a knowing of why I was the way I was, which was, there were so many things, inexplainable, fears, for example, or things that have never happened to me in this lifetime. And I didn't understand why I had, these traits or these fears or these different things about me. And going in through the past lives, I started to really understand that even every single facet of every single relationship that I've had, where those connections really came from and how long they've been there for. And, the people that are my soul family, where we come from, and the types of lives that we've had together. And yeah, it's been really interesting for sure.
Yeah, Trina's commented here. She shows that she gets the deep diving thing. So that's awesome. And yes, Trina was also one of the other regular viewers at our online summit that we had. So when you say that you've gone through all these like thousands of lives, and that, are these all yours, or are they?
Yeah, they were mine, and some of them were my partners as well. So that's actually kind of how it led on to the what some people would call the twin flame or the twin soul journey. Yeah, it was that was also really interesting, seeing our relationship in other lifetimes and seeing how it's shaped and kind of brought us to where we are now, and the different things that have carried from those times into now, and how I have to, basically go about learning about them to clear certain things out of the way, so we're not repeating these same kind of, patterns and belief systems and just things that you wouldn't really know that unless you did that kind of work.
And so, like, how did you get introduced to it? Like, what was your starting point?
My own journey. I had to heal myself quite a bit. So I basically, when I got my Reiki attunement, my Reiki master told me that shamanism was something that I was supposed to be doing in my lifetime. So I knew right from the very beginning that it was going to happen eventually. But eventually it got to a point where I was searching for my own soul, like, work to be done. And so I went to a couple different shamans to receive that type of work from, actually probably like 4 different shamans. And in that gave me some healing and some knowledge of past life stuff that I was currently having to kind of re-experience. And in that, I had to learn how to journey and go to those times to see what it was that I needed to heal. So at first I was getting the work done from a shaman myself, and I was receiving that type of healing. And then eventually it got to a point where the spirits were basically kind of making me do the work myself and really starting to push me in the direction of, hey, you can do this yourself. You need to do this yourself, journey, until it gets to a point where, you are doing the work. And so that's kind of how it all came about for me, learning through spirits and through actually my own soul. So my own soul had gifts from me just by me going through these other lifetimes. I was basically collecting these types of gifts and the knowledge of how to do the types of healings that I do now. So a lot of the stuff my soul already knew and was already doing in other lifetimes, and I'm just kind of bringing it forward now into this lifetime and bringing it to basically Earth.
That's awesome. So I like to ask these questions because I'm always a curious type of person, and what might be one person's experience with shamanism and their journey could be completely different from somebody else. So thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah, definitely.
And then there's, you do some massage work too?
Yes, I've practiced Rainer massage for 2 years now. I've been running the clinic, or helping run the clinic for the owner. And that actually is really interesting. So when I say I combine all my work, I had a lot of experiences with shamanic work before I even was really practicing it, just through the type of body work that I do, which is called Rainer massage. And eventually, when I started to actually becoming to practice shamanism, I started understanding the different facets of how things are also physically in the body, basically that your tension is made up of stress, emotions, and traumas, and relating it to also energy and how it's being trapped and stored in our body, and basically trying to give people different outlets. So in the body work, people will have a lot of emotional releases, or they might, have these different releases or experiences that they've never had before through massage. And it's just simply because we're touching base on those layers of basically kind of more spiritual, emotional stuff coming through in the physical body. And by the time they come to me, I'm able to usually help them release it, or it's a sign that they need more work that's a little bit deeper than just physical.
Right. And Trina's sharing with us. She's the best, as in you, Ayssia.
Thank you.
You were her first experience in Rainer, and because of you, she trained in it. And
yeah,
you're her mentor too. She loves you.
Thank you.
Trina, that's so kind. Thank you for sharing as well. Yes, and so so you have the energy side and the physical massage side. I totally get that too. I started out with shiatsu practitioner training, and that was a blend of the physical and the energetic in the first place. And I found, as more and more modalities got added on, like therapeutic touch, and then doing the Reiki as well, like that was all, it did start to blend. And then I ended up creating a metaphysical massage, just to call it what, it was also all encompassing, because of Tibetan singing bowls and everything was just getting worked in. And I'm like, I don't want to leave anything out. Like, so it's awesome how you can morph all of these together and bring like something that's really unique to you and bring that to your clients. So Jazz is saying, holy smokes, Ayssia, you are speaking to me. I have some of these things happening due to a car accident. I want to know more. Okay, so wanting to know more, how do we get a hold of Ayssia? Well, let's see, on Facebook and on, you're also on Instagram too, I believe, right?
Yeah.
And it's at The Full Circle Healing. And since we're already on the Facebook platform right here, also on YouTube, but The Full Circle Healing is your handle on Facebook. So you can reach out and find all of her contact info there. And your website too is thefullcirclehealing.com. And like you said, there's quite a wealth of information on that for people to follow up with you as well, and also to find out more about what you do and what you've shared on your website. So that's the fullcirclehealing.com. Okay, so and other ways to, like the replay for this will always be available in this Facebook group. It's also broadcast to YouTube. If you're watching from YouTube, it will still be there. I will be uploading this to the Instagram TV and also to a very brand new podcast that I've only got a couple of them on there right now. But so you'll be able to listen to this too. Say you're driving or something, you want to listen to it and not watch it, you can load up Spotify and we'll be on there under the Holistic Market and Psychic Fair. So that's I'm thrilled with that. I just got to share how else people can, watching on the replay, or if you want to catch this again, these are the different ways that you can do it. Okay. Now you are just going to bring up for anybody that was just joining us recently, that you have offered to donate to Shamanic Journey Gifts. So for 2 awesome people here today, we will be doing the draw for this at the end of the show. And to enter, all we have to do is type in the word journey. That was the word we chose. Yeah, what was that? So type in the word journey, and hey, if you were here earlier and did it, go ahead and do it again, because that'll give you 2 entries. And we will do a random draw from everyone that's commented with the word journey. We will do that at the end of the show and be in touch with you to set that up with Ayssia. Okay. So Ayssia, is there anything else that you wanted to share that maybe I haven't really touched on yet, like in terms of your modalities or experiences?
Yeah, I mean, there's such a wide range of what I do that it's really hard to actually talk about all of it in kind of one go. Even when I'm with a client and I tell them all the different things they need, it's actually a pretty long conversation. But a couple different things that I wanted to bring up are womb healing is one. And basically, a lot of people, men and women, both need womb healing. And it has a lot to do with basically your womb space. So your sacral chakra, if people know that, and basically all of our sexual organs. And if there's any type of traumas here, any type of relationship traumas, pregnancy traumas, and also traumas yourself, if you've had any trauma from basically the time you were in the womb to basically adulthood, childhood, basically traumas. And a lot of stuff carries in that space. And a lot of people don't realize, especially, women have a lot of more harder time in that area where we carry weight. And I found my own self personally through going through this journey is that a lot of that weight that we carry that we can't get rid of, that stubborn fat tends to be energetic baggage that we're carrying. And what happens is we have a lot of, different experiences with different people, whether they be sexually or in, actual relationships. And there carries a lot of weight and cords there. And it kind of just builds up over time. And eventually, different things can happen here. So your hormones can go out of balance. Your digestive can be directly affected because of that. A lot of people have a lot of digestive issues and don't really realize the hormonal side of things. And so basically, I really wanted to kind of touch base on that as well, because I feel like there's just not enough information out there that people really know what womb healing is, for example. And, if a lot of people think, womb space, that it must only be for women, but I've had a lot of men actually come to me for womb healing as well. And so it's never just, a one-sided thing. Both men and women can get that, and both of us need it. There's always a divine feminine and masculine. So it also has a lot to do with your relationships and how your relationships kind of are. Do you keep repeating? Your partners kind of have like similar traits that, maybe aren't the best for you. There's different things, and abuse and stuff like that in relationships can also be carried down there. And any kind of, power that you might have given away, where it's your own personal power. So in a relationship, that can be, instead of saying no when you wanted to say no, you said yes. And that could be something like even just having sex when you didn't really want to. That is kind of giving power away in a sacred level that people don't really realize. And I personally did not know that until I really started doing this work. And I started realizing, oh, there's a lot of things that I had going on here that I needed to heal from. And so that one's really special to me. And then as well, sort of the twin journey. I had no idea what twin flames were or anything about them until I was already going through these kinds of experiences. And basically a lot of people are going through it right now and they just have no idea. And essentially that can show up as basically this
That's
partner.
what I was going to ask you is, well, how would that show up? How would somebody know if they're going through it if they don't know that they're going through it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, for my own personal experience, I started stumbling upon emails and this just information about twin flames, and I was like, what is a twin flame and why am I reading about it? And like then I started reading about it and I started realizing, oh hey, this sounds exactly like everything I'm going through in my current relationship. This is so strange. Why, like, what does it mean? How does it, it just seems a little kind of strange at first when you've never heard anything about it. So basically what it is essentially is what they say is that it's two souls that were split into have two different separate experiences. They were from one soul, kind of like literally a twin cell, splitting and then going to have many different experiences. And at some point they would come together and they would go through a period of basically mirroring and triggering. So we already do this kind of as people anyways, but when you have a twin flame relationship, it can be really, really extreme. So a lot of ups and downs, a roller coaster ride, a lot of triggering of things that don't even have to really to do with them in this physical reality that we're living in. It could be things from your own personal experience that you might be having to heal. So a lot of the time the twins will trigger and mirror each other, things that need to be healed in themselves, but also just in their reality, and they need to clear it so that they can move past these, kind of like, they're almost like little roadblocks. And so the relationship can be quite bumpy at times because of it. And especially when you don't know what's going on. And then people are just like, man, why is it all of a sudden we just got into this weird fight and it didn't even make any sense? Or these weird things that you're like, this doesn't make any sense. This has nothing to do with, that or you or me or whatever. And you're just kind of, you don't really understand it, but it just keeps happening and happening. And then until you clear it, these things will basically just keep happening. So essentially, each twin's journey is very different. Some people might have it a little bit less bumpy. Some people might have it more bumpy, depending on how much stuff they have to clear and how many lifetimes that's been around for and that kind of thing.
And so this would come up if the twin flames, as in human forms, have reconnected themselves, and then this is where they experience it.
In the physical, in your physical reality. And a lot of the time they can go through breaks and periods too where they need to step away because their energy is really strong and it can be really intense. And so intense in both the ways though, it can be really intense good, but it also can be really intense the other way. And so it really does feel kind of like a roller coaster ride at times. And you're just like, I don't get it. But there's this level of unconditional love that you have that keeps bringing you back together. And it just keeps bringing you back together. And you're like, but it doesn't make sense. If you don't know what's going on, you're like, why? But it truly is just a time. There's only a certain time period that you'll go through that. And once things kind of start to clear, then you'll basically come into a union and things will not be that way anymore. You'll have gotten past those kind of blocks and those things that needed to be cleared. And
so in case of working with someone with twin flames, do you need to see both people then?
Oh, well, that's actually the most interesting part about it. So all of my clients in the last, basically since December, have had twins, whether they were physically with them or not. And they basically, them doing the work, because they're the same soul, their twin will receive it regardless. So you can't do work to one without it happening to the other. So that part's really fascinating, and really cool, because sometimes the other twin might not be awakened to any of this stuff, and it'll just sound like ridiculous to them. They will be like, yeah, whatever, this doesn't make sense to me, because they're just not there yet. And the other twin will usually be the one, you know, coming to me and being like, there's this thing, I don't know what's going on, my life's a mess. And I just basically have to go through explaining to them, yeah, it's kind of the process. And definitely sometimes the twins need space to heal away from each other, and then they'll come back as well. And yeah, it's been really cool and interesting to see how it's affected people in their relationships. And also, that's another part of the womb healing too. I found that it really goes with it, because we can carry marriages and children and ties and basically contracts from other lifetimes. And if all of that stuff is all gunked up around you, you're not giving the space to have that twin union, basically. So you need to clear all of these other, you know, relationship ties that, even if they're not, you know, in your current reality, they're still kind of there somewhere. So that was another interesting aspect I found too, clearing other lifetimes of marriages and children and just things like that.
So when you say they're kind of there, you mean like in their energetic field?
Yeah, in their energetic field. Yeah. So
okay.
they're.
I'm just going to take a look at some of these comments here. We've had quite a few come up. Trina, it's amazing. Everybody needs to experience her work. And I think when you're talking about the womb healing, she said, "Oh dear, I really need your support, Ayssia. With my daughter, we had a difficult birth." Yes, there's a lot of those. And she knows that stuff, and she still needs support in womb healing. And then Jazz, wow, Ayssia, where have you been all this time? We're trying to get her to you physically, but with the COVID pandemic, we'll just have to wait until we're into the gatherings of 500 plus people. So let's put that out there. That's going to happen by the fall. Yeah, that's really interesting, Ayssia. And okay, so I'm just going to do the entry for the journeying, in case anyone's been joining us in. I see that we've had a few new viewers pop in here, that you're doing the free gift for 2 shamanic journeys, which will be drawn at the end of this broadcast. And we will announce it before we close off the show and be in touch with everybody, the 2 winners. Ayssia is available for contact on Facebook at The Full Circle Healing, and also her website, which is thefullcirclehealing.com. Lots of good info on there too. So if anyone's got any questions for Ayssia, certainly go ahead and type those in. Now, are you able to do any like a card? You do card readings too?
I do card readings too. Usually with the work that I do, I can also do psychic work, so mediumship as well. And that's probably easiest for this. So then I could just close my eyes and kind of dive in.
So if anyone would like to have a quick reading and have Ayssia connect with you, and what do you need? Yeah, type in there that you want this, because we would need to know who it is that we're focusing on. And what would you need from the person? Like, just to know who it is, or do they need to describe the situation?
No, pretty much all I would do is look at their name, and I will close my eyes and journey to my spirits, and then they'll show me whatever it is that they need to see about that I can bring through, basically. So I don't really need to know a whole lot unless they want something really specific to be known, like a question. But
well, we've just had a question here from Trina. So she has asked, can children be twin flame energies? She feels like her daughter is her twin flame.
So not usually. The reason why is because the twins are the perfect counterparts. So so there's kind of like a difference between twin flames and soulmates and you know, basically the soulmates and soul family. So your daughter will for sure be your soul family, and she'll have certain lessons that you guys will both have lessons together, basically to learn together and to learn from. And you know, that's basically your guys' contract. But if you'd like to, did you want me to do like a reading about that? Because yeah, she can't be your twin soul, basically. Your twin soul, it's a divine feminine and masculine counterpart. So it wouldn't be your child. No.
But she has commented here. She does have a difficult relationship with her. So yeah, maybe tuning into the relationship of them together. Then that would be awesome.
Yeah. Okay, I'll do that.
So while we're just here, we're having some quiet time while Ayssia is doing some shamanic traveling to take a look at the relationship between Trina and her daughter. And when Ayssia's ready, she'll come and have a message for her. So for those who are watching on the replay, type in replay. And for those who are listening, right now Ayssia's just got her eyes closed. So she's like going into like a meditative state and retrieving some messages for Trina. And Trina's question was surrounding her daughter. Initially, she asked if children can be twin flames. She felt like the energy of her daughter is hers, and she has quite a difficult relationship with her. So as Ayssia explained, that mother, father, and children are not usually, like, they aren't twin flames, but they're like of soul families. Oh, thank you, Trina. She's downloading the info. Yes. Trina is familiar with her too and some of her work. So, and I hope I'm not being disturbing either by chatting here on the side. But she'll be joining us back when she has some messages for Trina surrounding Trina and her daughter. And if you're just joining us, Ayssia does have a giveaway for the end, so be sure to type in to enter. Type in the word journey into the comment section, and we will do the draw for that shortly. The word journey. Oh, she's back. Yeah, I thought I would just fill in some dead air space.
Oh yeah, that's totally fine.
Let people know what's happening.
Yeah. So basically, what I found out was that your guys' connection just needs to be cleared. So you guys have, because you're a mother and a daughter, there's like a cord, and everyone has a cord in a different kind. But as a mother and daughter, it has to do with your catheric field, and a catheric. Basically, it's because you gave birth to her. You know, you have this special cord that's a little bit different. And in that, it needs to be cleared. And you guys have had at least 5 lifetimes together. And basically, that's those lifetimes, you've been too mothering. I'm sorry if that sounds rude or anything, but you've been too mothering for her. And she kind of, it seems like she's an older soul, and she needs that kind of a little bit of space, so that, and that cord to be cleared, so that you guys can have less turbulence. Because I feel like it's just, you know, agitation from past life stuff. And then, you know, add this lifetime, and it's just kind of like tipping over the edge just a little bit. And so, yeah, if you just basically you just need to get that cleared away a little bit, and things should change within that relationship. Also, definitely, yeah, the womb healing is something that you need for sure.
Yeah, she says, yes, she is an older soul. She's definitely connecting with that. And I think she was laughing at the overmothering part when you put that in there. All right. So yeah, we actually have time to do one more. We'll do one more on a virtual reading here then. And just find where I saw that. There's oh, there it is. Sorry. Jazz says, Jazz, Ayssia, help. So yeah, if you'd like to, will you be doing the same thing then, kind of going into the downloading state? Okay, so I'll just kind of be chatting on the side here. I've put up Jazz's picture and name there so you can see and tune into her, and then we'll go take a look. Oh, here we go, Ayssia. She's had difficulty in her relationship and wonder if you can help. She finds it difficult to have patience when needed at times, and find people misunderstand her at times too. Okay, so is that enough info from
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, most of the time I don't even really need anyone to tell me a whole lot. I can just go and the spirits will tell me whatever it is they need to know. So
Okay.
Yeah, I'll do that right now.
Sure. All right. So while we're here, Jazz, I've just left a comment up there for now, so we can just observe for those who are watching what Ayssia's doing right now. Is she's doing some downloading of information. She's connecting with Jazz's, I guess, her energy. And I was receiving some messages from Ayssia's spirit guides as to what Jazz needs to hear today and what will be useful for her, and relating to, I guess I wouldn't always be specific to this, but the messages that are there for you that you need to know now are going to be coming through for her. And oh yeah, and then Trina has said, yep, she's going to be working on clearing it from the previous messaging that Trina received from Ayssia. And Trina also says, thank you. Thank you, Trina. Love how you're you're one of the best in the top 10 fans. And Jazz, I'm just putting the comment up here again. Her question is that she's had difficulty in her relationships and wondering if Ayssia can help. Jazz is finding it difficult to have patience when needed at times, and finds that people misunderstand her as well. Yes, so I would think in that too, you may want to look at the throat chakra. There's some tightness, or doing breath work with the throat to really open that up and do some clearing. The throat's about communication, not just on how we communicate with others, but how what we're saying is being perceived and integrating in our own lives. So that's just a little side tip for you as well, Jazz. So to do that, be focusing on that area, taking some deep breaths, and bringing, exhaling, releasing any tightness through the throat area, then bringing in healing light energy with the in-breath and bringing that in to this area, and seeing if you notice any releasing that's happening. Often when we have communication issues, there's a lot of tightness and holding that's there, and to the point that it's being held all the time. We're not even as aware and conscious of it until it releases and lets go. It's like, oh, I had some tightness there. And actually, as I'm doing that now with myself, I'm feeling, oh, I had some tightness in the throat chakra here as well. So releasing and letting that go. I hope that's helpful for you, Jazz. Okay. And then I'll just pop up some more contact info for Ayssia while she's in this downloading state. Let me go back over to my banner. So you can reach Ayssia on Facebook at The Full Circle Healing. TheFullCircleHealing.com is her website. Lots of good info on there. And So after this, after Jazz gets her messages, we will be doing the draw for the 2 sessions with Ayssia. So if you haven't entered yet, be sure to type in the word journey, and that will enter you into this contest and draw. So typing in the word journey, and if you've also just joining us, be sure to give a StreamYard permission to leave a comment to attach your name and your photo to it, or else if you win, I won't have a way to contact you. That's just through the StreamYard platform, streamyard.com/Facebook, and then that will give permissions for StreamYard to share that info on the streaming platform. Yay! Okay, so Ayssia looks very deep in thought. It's interesting if you're watching this or just listening to this. Her eyes are kind of fluttering. It's almost like she's in REM sleep at the moment, as she's tuning in and receiving these messages for Jazz. Okay. I'm just going to put Jazz's comment back up there again. She's had difficulty in her relationships and wondering if Ayssia can help, and then a lot to do around patience and misunderstanding. Okay, so I just saw Aysia's eyes have opened up, so I'll just pass over the screen to you, and you can go ahead with the message.
Yeah, so basically what I was shown was that you have some heart walls. So basically some heart work needs to be done, and this is totally normal. Most of us have, some heart walls, and basically they're walls that you put up to keep people out. And essentially something happened around the age of 5. It's related to your father, and basically those heart walls went up, and so you have some issues with communicating and people maybe hearing what you're trying to say because of that. And also if you have those walls up, you can't love fully. So it's really important that these types of walls get cleared, especially if you are someone who's currently in a relationship and maybe it's not working really well. There's these boundaries that you have that, as soon as someone even gets a little bit close to it, you're kind of like, eh. And then, you kind of shoo them away, or you push people away. They did say that you don't know how to emote properly. So you're kind of holding emotions in, or you don't really know how to talk about them fully or release them fully from yourself. And so that is also a part of why these issues can happen. So yeah, it's really just about releasing those types of walls, and usually there's more stuff that needs to be done, but that's kind of the main issues with this specific question.
Interesting. So if people aren't familiar with a heart wall, I mean, I know there's a whole modality surrounding heart walls and heart math and all of that too, but we don't have time to get into that quite today. So the heart wall is that like an energetic block then? Like,
I mean, in a way,
physically too.
Yeah, you can definitely feel it physically if you're in tune with yourself enough to feel that. Yeah, I mean, it really just depends on the person. You could have been living with it for so long, in her case, since 5 years old, or in those young years. We can develop heart walls really easily, especially in those younger ages, because we haven't had that much time to experience, many other things yet. Everything is kind of new. So even a small incident you could have a heart wall. Like, even if someone made fun of you, or maybe you had a crush on another little kid or something, and maybe they made fun of you for it, that could create a heart wall. Right. And how many times do we see that in a day at kids' school? Like, there's lots of things that can be, and then you might have something bigger that has to do with a bigger trauma that maybe happen later on in life as well. And it tends to happen is that we have these smaller ones as we're younger, and then they kind of build and then build and then build. And then we have more and more and more, depending on how many relationships we've had. Have we been hurt in all these relationships? Even that, if someone has been in many relationships where they were kind of hurt in the same way, that means that there's something karmic there that they need to learn from. And until they clear it, they will probably keep repeating it. So yeah, it's.
Thank you, Ayssia, and Trina as well. Yes, it takes a lot of practice to let the heart walls go. I have had to get a lot of support releasing them. Don't be hard on yourself having heart walls. Yeah, I think we all do have them.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
It's just a matter as to what extent is it that then affects your actual living and life and relationships. Yeah. And when it becomes an obstacle, like it is, like as Jazz had shared, that she's losing patience with people and having misunderstanding, it's affecting her in her daily life. So it's something to take a look at. Thank you so much for being on the show, Ayssia, and for sharing. Mm-hmm. So I believe, Ayssia, you can see in the live comments there, everybody that's made the comments. So I'll leave that up to you to scroll through those and to choose the 2 winners. And so we'll be wrapping up the show here, and we will let those 2 winners know that they have won a full hour session here with Ayssia, which can be done remotely as well. Yay. Let's see. And that was for the 2 shamanic journeys. So we will do one for each. Oh, and Jazz too says, could that be from my dad leaving for a bit? He was away for work, but as a kid, I wasn't aware. I remember it well. Oh, I would think so.
Yeah. Typically, it just takes me a little bit. I'd have to go in more to get like the full information. I'd have to like, do the work a little bit more with the person. So from an outside point of view, yeah, basically they told me for sure that it was from your father, and that, it was around that age. And so you would know. If you know already, then for sure that's it. If that was the first thing that popped into your head, that's probably exactly what it is.
Yeah, I agree too. Mm-hmm. When you have something like that and it resonates and that's what comes forward out of you, Jazz, that would definitely be what is true to you.
Okay, so I was just kind of consulting to see what my spirit said, that who should get the winner, because I don't really like choosing. But Jazz, you're one of them, and Trina.
Oh, awesome. Okay, yeah. So Jazz and Trina, you're each the winners. Awesome. Congratulations. And so we have your Facebook info here, so we'll be in touch. Ayssia will be in touch, or you can reach out to Ayssia as well through those channels that we just talked about, whether it's through her website or on Facebook itself, and connect and to receive your shamanic journey.
Yes.
And thank you. Thank you for doing that too, Ayssia. It's awesome when we are able to offer these gifts to people, and perhaps, something that maybe they wouldn't have tried on their own, but after chatting with you and becoming familiar with you, and be like, oh yeah, okay, I could do something like that. And then bonus is you offer a whole session for free. So that's so nice. Thank you for your generosity. Okay, so we're going to wrap up. I will have, I actually have, Trina's like, oh, I win, so excited. All right, so Ayssia, just stay in the studio here for a bit, and I'll connect with you in a second here. Okay, so yeah, I am organized today. I have my next vendor spotlight lined up for next week. It'll be on Tuesday, same time, 11:11. I'm actually going to make that commitment to bring this broadcast to everybody at a regular time and a regular day. So Tuesdays at 11:11, that's where you're going to find these vendor spotlights, and I have a whole bunch of people lined up. Next week, I will be interviewing, actually, she's a guest spotlight because she's not quite a vendor, but she has organized and set up a metaphysical school, and you may recognize her as well from the vendor from the Holistic and Psychic Online Summit. She was one of the guest expert panelists there. Her name is Trina Dubois with the Metaphysical School, of which I am also on the faculty of, as well as many of the other vendors that we chat with. They have their programs and teachings online through the school there. So that's next week. Thank you for watching, everybody, and enjoy the rest of the day. Bye.